chronically online girl explains Paramore lore. More like chronically online girl explains paralore. I knew somebody was gonna comment it, so I did it first. You know what absolutely no one is looking forward to? Cold and flu season. Who likes getting sick? No one, right? But for people like me with OCD, this time can be especially hard. OCD can focus on anything, including your health. When it does, it can make you hyper aware of every sensation in your body. Even a simple cough or sneeze can cause your brain to start spiraling about literally the worst case scenarios. Next thing you know, you spend hours checking your symptoms online, trying to reassure yourself that you're okay, or you've canceled all your plans because seeing anyone feels like too big of a risk right now. I know how terrifying it feels when your mind tries to convince you something is seriously wrong, and how impossible it seems to just not worry about it. But here's the thing about OCD. The harder you try and make the fear and anxiety go away, the more it grows and the smaller your world becomes. Really exhausting cycle. The way to get your life back from OCD is to break that cycle. And the best way to do that is a specialized therapy called ERP, or exposure and response prevention. That is where NoCD comes in. NoCD is the world's leading provider of specialized OCD treatment. Licensed therapists trained to understand exactly how OCD works and to treat it with ERP therapy. In live face-to-face virtual sessions, they'll help you break free from these exhausting patterns so you can get your time back and actually focus on what's important to you. NoCD is covered by insurance for over 155 million Americans. They provide support in between sessions, so you're never alone. Any of this sounds familiar? Visit nocd.com to book a free call. That's nocd.com to learn more and get connected to someone who can help. Thank you so much, NoCD, for sponsoring today's video.
Hey guys! The Gladys wig from Weapons did come out to play once again, okay? I made my effort. Look at my tattoo. I went to the tattoo shop and I was like, I want a big ass cross on my thigh. And they're like, are you sure? We haven't done that on anyone since 2013. And I was like, yes, absolutely. It's still healing. It's bleeding really bad. Hayley Williams has had a plethora of hairstyles and hair colors to choose from. And I just so happen to have my Gladys wig. But truly, she's had like every color of the rainbow. Fuck, she's literally even had green hair. I mean, funny enough, I actually just saw Hayley Williams in the flesh the other day. I'm at the David Byrne concert. David Byrne of the Talking Heads. And I see this small little woman come on stage and is dancing with yellow hair. And I'm like, no way that that's Hayley Williams, because nobody in the crowd is cheering for her. I was in fact the youngest person at Radio City Music Hall. So much so that I took a video and zoomed in all the way so I could tell if it was her or not. Turns out it was her. David Byrne did end up introducing her. And there were a few woos in the crowd. That has nothing to do against Hayley Williams. It's just that people above the age of 75 don't really know who Hayley Williams is. And that's okay. I'm so happy that they learned. A lot of you were really upset with me because during my Fleetwood Mac video, I was like, oh, we don't have a Fleetwood Mac of today's generation. I'm sorry, I was wrong, okay? I was incorrect. My fucking bad. Paramore and Fleetwood Mac have some similar things in common, okay? Number one, amazing hits. Number two, they all dated within the group. It's so incestuous and like intertwined. It's kind of beautiful. Also, a revolving door of bandmates. There are more people that have left Paramore than the amount of people that are currently in the band now. So okay, we're gonna talk about emo Fleetwood Mac today. Goddamn. I myself was a little Paramore girly. You are the only exception. Decode. Yeah, that did shape me as a child. I did feel cooler than everyone else, and I was like, oh, I'm better than every other girl because I like Paramore and you don't. But Paramore has never been not interesting because every single band member has quit at one point or another. There's something about the band Paramore that keeps drawing them to come back. Over the years, the band has produced 6 studio albums. All We Know Is Falling, Riot, Brand New Eyes, Paramore, After Laughter, and This Is Why, which many people did think that inspired the Talk Nasty to Me cover photo. It didn't, funny enough. The Talking Heads actually inspired it, which is a very big inspiration for Hayley Williams. Funny little anecdote there. However, one way or another, each of these records holds up a mirror, dizzying highs and paralyzing lows that dominated Paramore behind the scenes. Can we separate Paramore from the surrounding drama? And if so, is that a good or a bad thing? Okay, let's take it all the way back. Hayley Williams, 2002. 2002, 13-year-old Hayley Williams moves to Tennessee and met brothers Zach and Josh Farrow at a homeschooling program according to Grunge. She also befriends Jeremy Davis and plays in a band with him, while the Farrows play in a band with Taylor York. It takes everything within me to not say Tom York every single time. After taking vocal lessons by a very esteemed Brett Manning, Hailey was actually signed as a solo artist in the year 2003, but was very adamant about performing as a rock band. She wanted to make sure that we didn't look at her as some straight to top 40 pop princess, Atlantic's A&R Stephen Robinson said. She wanted to make sure that she and her band got the chance to show what they can do as a rock band writing their own songs. So the following year, 2004, Josh Farro, Zach Farro, Williams, and Davis created the band Paramore. Crack show early on because Hailey already notes to Europunk how the others were initially edgy about the whole female thing and were unsure about her being a soloist. And later they were joined by Hailey's neighbor, Jason Bynum. The band was signed by Fuel My Ramen. You may know them because of 21 Pilots, which is a subsidiary of Atlantic Records, while Hailey was also signed to Atlantic as well. And the record contract was a 360 contract, which means that the company gets revenue from all of the streams of income. And if you were ever curious about the name Paramore, according to Digital Spy, Paramore came about because it was one of the maiden names of the band member's mom. It was also inspired by the phrase paramour, which means secret lover. So after touring the Southeast, Davis quits, and Paramore's response was to base their debut album, All We Know Is Falling, on him leaving. The album artwork depicts a shadow walking away, which Hailey describes in an interview about the representation of them grieving. So then he was replaced by John Hembry. This only lasted 5 months before Paramore asked Davis to return, which he then did. Paramore also replaced Jason Bynum with Hunter Lamb in December 2005. So throughout 2006, the band did a lot of tours, including the Warped Tour. I have never been to Warped Tour. I was always a bit too young, but I remember seeing people on Tumblr always go to Warped Tour, and it looked like the best time ever because a bunch of like fun punk emo bands would perform, and it was run by Vans. And this culminates in them having their very own tour in August 2006. So Lamb left in 2007 to get married. He was not replaced, which left basically Hailey, Williams, the Farros, and Davis. So right before they started recording the album Riot, Josh says that Davis was kicked out because of a lack of work ethic. The 3 remaining members recorded Riot, but after this, Davis was reinstated, and Taylor York also joined the band as a touring musician. So Riot was very, very successful in 2007. It was on the Billboard 200. Misery Business reached number 26 on the Billboard Top 100, and this record and album really put Paramore on the map. And this is around the time that I found out about Paramore. So during the making/touring of this record, Josh claims that he and Hailey dated and broke up. However, Hailey also started dating Chad Gilbert in 2007, while he was still married to Sherry Dupree. It's unclear if there was any cheating within this love triangle rectangle square, although it was widely speculated. After the band embarked on their tour in Europe in February 2008, they soon canceled 6 of their shows. Williams said the following in a now deleted blog post cited by MTV. A lot of it started right around the time we were gearing up for the Riot tour in the US. We were able to fight through all of it for this long, but unfortunately we weren't able to keep it together long enough to make it through the end of tour. We really feel that taking this time is going to give us a chance to get away and work on our personal issues at home on our own terms. We just aren't willing to risk the life of our band over one tour. Maybe one day we will tell the whole story, but for now, just know that all 5 of us are going to work so hard to get it right. The article also notes how rumors of tension had been circulating for a while due to the attention Hailey was getting compared to the other members of the band, especially when Josh said the following: "We are a team. We are a band. It's not just Hailey, it's not her band. Just because she's the lead singer doesn't mean that she's the only one involved." In 2009, Taylor York was then christened officially as a member. Their album Brand New Eyes was released in September of 2009, which one of its songs, The Only Exception, you probably know of, was then nominated for a Grammy. Now, Hailey later did admit in an MTV interview cited by NME, the most of Brand New Eyes was about Josh. I would say that a large majority of those songs have to do with the relationship we had and then that we had to mend. It was really hard because we were friends, and then going through a breakup and going through any kind of tension as a band really affected all the lyrics. So Paramore was now at the top of their game. However, this is going to really come as a shock to you guys, but some members did leave. Josh and Zach's departure was announced December 2010. December 18th, 2010, Paramore took to their official blog, because that was a fucking thing, to announce that the brothers were leaving the band. None of us were really shocked. The remaining members of Paramore wrote, "For the last year, it hasn't seemed as if they wanted to be around anymore. We want Josh and Zach to do something that makes them happy, and if it isn't here with us, then we support them finding happiness elsewhere." However, in their own statement, Josh and Zach made a number of explosive claims about Paramore. According to Josh, the original lineup actually featured him, Zach, Williams, Jason Clarke, and York. Josh also claims that in the early days of the band, Hayley was forced to leave by her domineering parents and manager, who wanted her to pursue being a solo artist. He says she later called and invited the Faros back in the band, but replaced the other two with Davis and Bynum. The band, Josh claimed, then became all about Hayley. He accuses her and her manager of having secret record label meetings without them, which led to Hayley being then signed by Atlantic Records. The label tried to fire the band a second time early in the process, but Williams and Josh had written songs the labels liked, which they were able to use as leverage, essentially. And after finishing their first record, during which Davis quit the band, they hit the road with the Williams dad driving them. Josh said her dad would constantly threaten to pull the plug on the whole band if we complained about anything, suggesting that we were hired guns and Hayley was the real artist. And in reality, we were also part of the band. We've always been treated as less important than Hayley. It's been obvious how our family views things. We toured nonstop for 2.5 years, building our fan base, pretending to be a band that started naturally. In reality, what started as a natural somehow morphed into a manufactured product of a major label, riding on the coattails of Hayley's dream. Things then went downhill after they started touring for Riot because Hayley and Jeremy's views started changing from what they all once believed in. Claims that the band almost split after canceling their Europe tour, and then there was also tension in writing the album Brand New Eyes. Hayley presented lyrics to us that were really negative and we didn't agree with. For example, the truth never set me free, which contradicts what the Bible says in John 8:32. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. We fought her about the lyrics, misrepresented our band and what we stood for, but in the end, she got her way. So there was speculation it wasn't the Faros who wrote this, so Josh actually posted a video to confirm, no, this is us.
Hey guys, it's Josh here. Just want to let you know that the blog that was posted is from me and Zach. So I know there are a lot of rumors going around that it wasn't from us, but it is. I know that makes some of you happy and some of you unhappy, and not much I can do, but yeah. Hope it finds you well.
Paramore responded to the blog post in a January 2011 interview with MTV. There's been a lot of things said online, and it sucks to know that responding online isn't really going to help. We really want the opportunity to show our fans that we are okay. The three of us are still here. We're not going anywhere. This is our way of showing that there's a future, and we're stoked for it, Hayley says. It hurts because what we were told was that they weren't happy. They didn't want to do this. But then when it really became about all these other things, I was very surprised and kind of felt led on. We've been doing this for 6-7 years now. I don't think any of this has been in vain for any of us, and I don't think anyone should discredit it. Taylor York also added, once we released our statement, we all knew they would probably release something. So I think we were all kind of bracing ourselves. Breakups are hard, and it's really hard to read, just because it seemed like a lot of stuff was pretty irrelevant to what happened. So Josh then went on to form his own band in 2011 and said, I think liberating is a great description of how I felt over the past month. Coming from Paramore, I didn't think that I would want to be in a band or want anything to do with it. And so when I actually found that passion and love for music again, I was like, wow, this is great. April 2013, we get Paramore's fourth album titled Paramore. And the album was obviously a commercial success, debuting at #1 in 8 countries, and it also earned Paramore its first #1 on the Billboard 200. We also got very, very successful singles and classics like Still Into You, Ain't It Fun? Ain't It Fun? And again, the band was on top of its game. You guys will never fucking guess what's gonna happen next. Guys, we're not going anywhere. Guys, it's just us. We're not going anywhere. So Davis does quit again in December 2015. In a statement, the band said the self-titled era was one that we knew would be important for us, but also one we'd eventually have to move on from. Moving forward, there's growth, pain, and change, and sometimes the change is not all the what you hope for. We've written and rewritten this countless times, and there's just not a good way to put it. Jeremy is no longer going to be in the band with us. To be honest, it's been really painful. After taking time to consider how to move forward, we ultimately found that we really do believe Paramore can and should continue on, and so we will. So early 2016, Davis ends up filing a lawsuit against Paramore. This also did happen with Fleetwood Mac. Oh my God. The dispute basically centered around whether Davis was a partner or employee at Vroom Wo, the business that operates Paramore. Davis argued that he was a partner, and in turn he was entitled to royalties and touring income from the band. And according to the suit, Hayley Williams fully owns Vroom Wo, which was the only one with a recording contract with Atlantic, and paid the rest of Paramore as employees. The suit also claims that Paramore was founded as a partnership between Davis and Williams, and after that, after being an employee, Taylor York joined Paramore as a partner in 2008. Davis also claims in the suit to have had numerous managerial responsibilities and decision-making power. Grunge also claims that Davis called Williams a backstabber in a media interview, but the lawsuit was settled in May of 2017, so it took quite some time. Early 2016, Paramore was working on their 5th album, After Laughter, and also Hayley Williams gets married. This will become important later on. In June 2016, Paramore confirmed that they were in fact recording with Zach Farro and that he would be playing drums for After Laughter. In August 2016, Zach said on Billboard's podcast, "It's a second chance." I'm so thankful that I'm playing on the album, but that wasn't what was important to me at the beginning. What was important was mending those friendships. Hayley and Taylor have become really good friends of mine again, and they're super supportive of my stuff. And so then in February 2017, they confirmed, yeah, Zach Farro is returning to Paramore. According to Billboard, fans received an email with the subject line, "Zach's back." And on the Paramore website, they reportedly started selling t-shirts with a young Zach with the tagline, "I'm back." It's noted that a lot of the songs on After Laughter have some mental health themes to them. Like, for example, Fake Happy, Hate to See Your Heartbreak. And Hayley Williams later confirms that this album was inspired by her own mental health struggles that were specifically going on during that time. In 2017, Hayley Williams shared that it all started when she quit the band in 2015 due to her depression. "For the first time in my life, there wasn't a pinhole of light at the end of the tunnel. I thought, I just wish everything would stop. It wasn't in the sense of I'm going to take my life. It was just hopelessness. I don't think I understood how dangerous hopelessness is. Everything hurts. I was just done. I thought there's got to be something else that I'm good at in my life. Maybe it's time for me to go find that." After quitting, Taylor York ended up continuing to send her music that he was working on for After Laughter, and eventually Hayley relented and rejoined Paramore. Yet in 2017, Hayley Williams does reveal at Beats One Radio that the band nearly split up again. At a certain point, I just felt like we'd been through, like, how much more can you really go through? I know that people don't always keep the same friends throughout their life, but I always thought I would. And honestly, I fucking feel that, Hayley Williams. I feel that heavily. Damn, maybe I am Hayley Williams. I used to get compared to Hayley Williams all the time when I had especially copper hair. I think people just see like a pale white girl and then copper hair and they're like, Hayley Williams. Taylor York said, "We've been doing this for so long. I think we were like, why are we doing this? If we don't want to be here, if we're not passionate about this, there's no point." It was kind of flatline, and I think that if it weren't for Taylor, the band would be over, Hayley said. That just kind of is the truth. Yeah, I had enough. I'm tired of losing friends, and I'm tired of doubting myself, and maybe if I'm just not doing it all, then I won't have anything to doubt. You can see what else I can do. Hayley then shared a little bit more about her depression and personal essay for paper. In the summer of 2015, I was engaged, yellow-haired 26-year-old. There was a Grammy sitting on my kitchen counter and boxes everywhere from the move I'd made back home to Nashville after a few years in LA. I was going to get married that September, slow down some, plant a garden, have a kid, make another Paramore record. Everything was finally going to be perfect and I was going to live happily ever after. Oh wow. Just threw up a little bit. Talking about a piano crushing her, Williams said that she woke up from that crash with one less bandmate. Another fight about money and who wrote what songs. And I had a wedding ring on despite breaking off the engagement only months before. A lot happened within a short time, but then I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, I didn't laugh for a long time. I'm still hesitant to call it depression, mostly out of the fear that people will put it in a headline as if depression is unique and interesting and deserves a click. Psychology is interesting, depression is torment. She says that writing the album ended up keeping her alive. Writing opened my heart up to healing as Zach Farro bolted back into mine and Taylor's daily lives like lightning. Now every night on tour, I turn around, there's my brother back on the drums again. No more denial, no more walking across traffic like the old lady in the cartoon who doesn't even notice the wreckage behind her when she's barely made it to the other side. This is what I like to call life with Al, short for After Laughter. It's a little dumb, but it helps me mark this time as a significant turning point in my life. So sometime in 2017, Hayley Williams then also divorces her husband. So one of Hayley Williams' least favorite lines of a song is in Misery Business, "Once a whore, you're nothing more. I'm sorry, that'll never change." Hayley actually had reservations about this line from the very start. Producer David Bendith said that she said, "I just don't think it's right. I think morally it's wrong to call somebody that." I said, "You're not calling somebody that. You're explaining the situation." She said, "Okay, I'm going to sing it. I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to sing it." And in 2015, Hayley Williams talks about her regret of singing those lyrics. Misery Business is not a set of lyrics that I relate to as a 26-year-old woman. I haven't related to it in a very long time. Those words were written when I was 17, admittedly from a very narrow-minded perspective. I feel that so extremely heavily, and I commend her for like talking about it. Sometimes an old Facebook post will show up for me and it'll be like 2012, and I'm like openly slut-shaming, like in a status. And then 2013 comes along and I'm like very anti-slut-shaming and like very, very feminine feminist of what, you know, a Tumblr feminist could look like in 2013. And I think, oh wow, yeah, shit has changed, and rather quickly. The problem with the lyrics is not that I had an issue with someone I went to school with. That's just high school and friendships and breakups. It's the way I try to call her out using words that didn't belong in the conversation. It's the fact that the story was set up inside the context of competition that didn't exist over some fantasy romance. So in 2018, during a concert in Tennessee, Hayley Williams then announced that they are retiring that song.
Tonight we're playing this song for the last time for a very long time. This is a choice that we made because we feel that we should.
In March 2020, she spoke out when Misery Business was included in Spotify's History of Rock playlist, saying, I know it's one of the band's biggest songs, but it shouldn't be used to promote anything having to do with female empowerment or solidarity. I'm so proud of Paramore's career. It's not about shame, it's about growth and progression, and though it'll always be a fan favorite, we don't have to include it in new playlists in 2020. And then in May 2020, Hayley reveals that the inspiration of Misery Business was because when she was 13 or 14, she had a crush on Josh and he didn't like her back. He would go and hang out with his girlfriend, who I wrote Misery Business about because I was a dick, she told Vulture. So then in October 2020, a Facebook comment posted by Josh Farrow went viral where he compared homosexuality to pedophilia and called it a perversion. This caused an outcry, with Hayley Williams posting the following. There's a reason there are only 3 people left in Paramore. Surprise haters, it ain't cause of me. Paramore does not condone religiously, politically dogmatic beliefs which leave our LGBTQ plus friends, fans, and family feeling abandoned and hopeless. And you know, if that doesn't jive with you, feel free to go where all past members of Paramore have gone, which is literally anywhere else but Paramore. To Paramore's LGBTQ plus family, and Clore Brime, I'm talking straight to you. You are full of love and you are loved. Zach then distanced himself with an open letter that also retconned his involvement with the infamous blog post. I want to say I love and support you all and have your back, and most of all, I stand with you. I do not condone any actions that do not love and support your community. When my brother and I left Paramore in 2010, there was a post about the band that I did not fully condone. My name was included on that post, yes, but I had not been briefed on what the entirety of that message contained. I'm openly speaking about this now, being not only the founding drummer of Paramore, but also rejoining in 2016. I'm saying that I have a voice of my own. My voice stands with our band and our fans, not with words, including me in actions I do not agree with. So 2021, there was a little bit of drama with Olivia Rodrigo, my fucking girl. Olivia Rodrigo released her song Good For You in May 2021 off of her first album. It ended up going absolutely viral, with fans creating mashups of the song with Misery Business. While Reddit users also noticed some similarities between the songs, with one Redditor actually calling it a complete ripoff. So in August 2021, Warner Chappell Music, Paramore's publishers, celebrated Good For You hitting the top of US charts with an Instagram story post saying, huge shout out to our writers Hayley Williams and Joshua Farrow. After this, Williams reposted the story on her own, adding, our publisher is wildin' right now. So while the credit was retroactive, an insider told BBC that the artist had been in touch prior to the song's release. The production credits have now been updated to include the interpolation of Misery Business alongside Rodrigo and tracks producer Dan Nigro, the insider added. The interpolation of the re-recording of the melody bridge of an existing song for a new and different track. And according to Billboard, Williams and Farrow were left to split $1.2 million worth of royalties from Good For You. I did a whole video about Olivia Rodrigo and I kind of touched on this, but there is like a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, especially when it comes to Paramore and Taylor Swift, because Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff also got credits for her interpolating the song Cruel Summer. My Gladys wig is falling the fuck off. This would never happen to Hayley Williams or Gladys. Many people are individually angry with Paramore themselves and also Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff themselves, because they believe that they essentially took money away from Olivia Rodrigo for demanding credits on the songs, but it does get a little bit more complicated because there are publishers involved with this all that have a lot more control than, say, the artists themselves. And it's not something that Olivia Rodrigo has spoken up about, but a lot of people do assume that her song, The Grudge, is directly about Taylor Swift and this situation of interpolation and credits for songs. So, 2022, Coachella, Billie Eilish joins Hayley Williams on stage to perform Misery Business. She told The Guardian that while she tried to talk her out of performing the song, she realized that it shouldn't be about me. I'd already called myself out and done a lot of the work on the misogyny I've metabolized as a young girl. And so a lot of fans were really fucking excited to hear this song live again. Then also October, during their North American tour, they also shocked the crowd by performing Misery Business again, which Hailey then said to the crowd, 4 years ago, we said we were going to retire this song for a little while, and I guess technically we did. But what we did not know was that just about 5 minutes after I got canceled for saying the word whore in a song, all of TikTok decided that it was okay. Make it make sense. Just for the record, 90% of you said whore tonight. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to preach about it. I'm just going to say thank you for being nostalgic about this, because this is one of the coolest moments of our show, and it's very nice to feel like there's a reason to bring it back that's positive. And while many fans were like super excited about this because it's one of their favorite songs and probably something that they didn't get to hear live, some other fans also felt let down. In an article for Metro, one fan pointed to the multiple sexual assaults that happened during one of the concerts around the same time. I'm absolutely not saying this is Paramore's fault, but how can their shows be a safe place when the band is seemingly encouraging the use of derogatory terms against women? Sexism and misogyny hasn't stopped just because Hayley Williams decided it wasn't cool to call someone a whore 4 years ago. It wasn't cool then or when the song was released 15 years ago or now in 2022. Paramore bringing the hit song out of retirement tells me that the band never really cared, not really. Truthfully, what has Williams done since then for women? It's great that Williams has recognized her own misogynistic lyrics for her own self-growth, if anything, and thinks that calling someone a whore is ultimately wrong, but that's all it's been for. Self-growth, not actually making a difference for female empowerment and taking a stance against sexism and misogyny. Now, September 2022, Paramore then went on to release This Is Why and win a Grammy. And also in September 2022, Hayley Williams and Taylor York went public with their romance after years of rumors and speculation whether or not they were together. Some fans believe that they have been dating since 2018, with one posting a detailed Hailey timeline on Reddit of so-called evidence that they've been romantically involved since then, such as cryptic Instagram stories, doing things alone together, posting songs about falling for your best friend. And according to Blunt Magazine, fans also believe that the songs from Williams' 2021 solo work like Crystal Clear and Liar were about Taylor York. Crystal Clear is about falling in love despite past hurt and vulnerability, with lines like I don't want to shut you out. Liar is about fighting against her feelings for someone. Lyrics like love is not an easy thing to admit, but I'm not ashamed of it. And then additionally in 2023, with an interview with Zane Lau about the song, Hailey says, when something has ease to it and when something feels healthy, and again, like respectful, it must be wrong. And I fought that feeling and said to myself, that's just a convenient thing. You're just trying to go where maybe your ego likes it. Just made up anything that I could. To realize that I love both Faro and York more than I've loved anyone in my life, but I love them both slightly different, that was also terrifying. Because I thought I must be a horrible person. I must be wrong. I must be everything that people have said about me. Is Hailey gonna date every one of her band members? You know, just like the bullshit that has been said. So November 2022, fans also noticed that Paramore changed the cover of its self-titled album. Originally, it was a picture of Williams, Davis, and York against a black background. Now changed to an image of Hayley Williams wearing a denim jacket with the words "grow up" spray painted on the back. The removal of Davis and the provocative messaging has led fans to believe that this is a direct jab to the former bassist, although this has not been confirmed. So mid-December 2023, with an interview with Uproxx, Paramore admitted that there was a level of uncertainty around their future. The only thing that matters is that we will still get to be in each other's community, while Faro added, I just hope we can keep building the Paramore empire and then rule the world. Later that month, fans did get concerned when Paramore took down their website and wiped their Instagram and Twitter accounts. In early January 2024, the band also pulled out of its appearance at Alter Ego Festival due to unforeseen circumstances, which only intensified the rumors. February, the band finally broke their silence with an Instagram post explaining that they had now split with their record label after 20 years. After a long career in the music industry, we decided to announce that we are going to continue to have a long career in the music industry. Sorry for any inconvenience. Our first order of business as a freshly independent Paramore is to shine a light on independent record stores, a vital part of our journey from the music-obsessed school friends to professional music makers. With that being said, we are humbled to be your ambassadors for Record Store Day 2024. The timing feels kismet. The discovery of music was always meant to be romantic. Indie record shops are some of the only spaces that we've got that offer a tangible, tactile experience of music discovery. This world that feels more disconnected and hostile than ever, it feels important to remain in touch, literally, with what inspires us, empowers us, or simply brings us joy. Clemmy? Hold on, she wants to be involved. Thankfully, for all our sakes, there are still survives amongst the chaos. The purity and radical simplicity for the record store Independently Yours, Paramore. And in a 2025 podcast interview, Hailey then reflected on being signed to a record label so young. I hated the whole process of being signed, hated it because what we had, like when our band, when we met and started playing together was so, again, it's like, I know I've used to use this word a lot, but there's so much purity to it. Any new artist would probably be a bit shocked to find out that it's like a vortex you get pulled into. We cared about the culture and what we were part of. You hate to learn about capitalism at 15 years old, but it's like, that's what it is. So Paramore continued to be active, then actually touring with Taylor Swift on the Europe leg of her Eras tour for spring and summer 2024. Clemmy, are you a Paramore fan? She's so happy right now. So as her romance with Taylor York blossomed, Hailey would often sing The Only Exception to him while on tour with Taylor. Then in September, Williams announced that Paramore was working on new music. However, the following month, allegations broke that Williams' Nashville hair salon, Fruits Lab, was a toxic work environment. If you didn't know, Hailey Williams herself has a hair dye company called Good Dye Young, which I've heard many, many great things about. It all started when Hailey shared a World Mental Health Day statement on the Instagram page of Good Dye Young, her hair cosmetics brand. And according to NME, commenters started accusing Hailey's salon of deleting comments that alluded to the salon's toxic workplace environment, which allegedly led to one worker having to get therapy. In turn, they called Hailey Williams' post performative, with one commenter even saying, deleting comments and not holding yourself accountable for the harm you caused is super gross. This post means absolutely nothing. We see you. And in response, Hailey posted a lengthy Instagram comment. I have interacted with stylists at our salon only a handful of times. I co-founded and funded the salon, but I am not the boss, nor do I even have a job title there. Salon manager was hired from day one because Brian and I are rarely in Nashville. When the group of Fruits employees chose to leave, the remaining team of stylists reported that the environment in the salon became immediately more positive and less toxic. Do with that what you will. From now on, I will no longer hold my team back from stopping assholes who are trying to take advantage of and attack my character. And lastly, the big news that we privately gave all of our staff at Good Dye Young and Fruits on World Mental Health Day this year is that their health insurance, which was already provided, will now include unlimited mental health services as of November 1st. If keeping that private was performative, then fuck me, I guess. So for the whole year of 2025, Paramore has not performed together, even though Hailey Williams has joined Deftones on stage in Nashville in March and has joined David Byrne on stage in New York City. They did, however, do a couple of things to acknowledge All We Know Is Falling's 20th anniversary. Like, they released a deluxe version of the album in July, which included 4 new songs. Zach and Williams did an interview with Spotify in August. However, the fact that Taylor York was not present for the interview, along with Williams and Zach releasing their own solo stuff, makes fans fucking worried again, because they're like, God damn it, what's happening? And also, according to Common Revolt, fans also noted that Taylor York wasn't at Zach's album release events in July, which reinforced rumors that there are issues. Also, in July, Hailey released all 17 songs from her upcoming album, Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party. She released them all as individual singles before releasing the album as a whole. However, unlike her other projects, Taylor York was not involved, specifically with the production of it. So now fans and outlets are speculating that there has been a breakup between Hailey and Taylor. The song Parachute, which you may have heard in TikTok audios, refers to a wedding, which could be about her previous marriage, and her resentment of Tom York for not stopping it. It also talks about her and her lover being on a plane to Rio, where Paramore performed frequently. As well as this, Redditors know how the reference to a spiral-haired child could be her future child with York, who also has curly hair. Even more worrying are the lyrics on Love Me Different. She details at great length a love that has ended after a friends to lovers trope finally came true. Over warbled coastal synths, she sings, and I know that you're probably telling yourself that no one's gonna love me like you did, and I know that you're probably right about that, but someone's gotta love me different. Fuck, I forgot my tongs for a little bit there, sorry. Far Out then adds, in Disappearing Man, she speaks of loving someone unconditionally and endlessly until there was no you to hold. My final act of love was surrender. If she gives up York, a large chunk of Paramore goes with him. Now, while Hailey Williams and Taylor York have not confirmed or denied a breakup of any sorts, Hailey Williams did tell BBC Radio 1 in late August that Parachute, with very specific references, was about a friend's experience of childhood sweetheart getting married. Then, in early September, Hailey put the band breakup fears to bed for good. In an interview with The Face, in response to the interview asking what's going on with Paramore, she said, "Do we ever know where we're at? We're always taking huge breaks in order for us to metabolize shit that we go through as people. It takes the amount of time it takes between albums. There are no better musicians in the world than Zach Farrow and Taylor. There are no better performers than the touring musicians known as Parafour. It's just magic." She then confirmed that Paramore were on a break rather than broken up and added, "I feel such a strong vindication in knowing that nobody can discount Paramore. It's also really important for me to strengthen other muscles in these parts of myself myself that I deflated because I was scared that people were going to notice me too much. She also said on New York Times Popcast podcast, what are we? What even is Paramore? Paramore is never going away. If I woke up tomorrow and hated it and was like, fuck Paramore, it's not going away, but I love it. It's my favorite band. I think we need breaks. I don't get to say like, well, this is exactly what we're going to do next. Like I've been saying my whole career, Paramore's a band. Like I don't get to decide, and it wasn't time to make another Paramore record. I've had a lot of shit to say, so I've done what I've done for myself. I'm finally willing to let that happen. It's okay if I'm myself and not Paramore right now. Paramore will always have its time because it's what we do. We cycle back in and out of it, resent it 1 minute, we want to wear matching clothes in the next minute. Meanwhile, in the writing of this video, Taylor York is now active on Instagram. Fans are very, very relieved to see that Taylor is active on social media because he is a very private person, posting a photo of his younger self with the caption, take care of yourself, love well, you've been here the whole time, one foot in front of the other, let's keep going. Some fans are mildly concerned with some of the songs that he's posting posts to, deleting, changing his Instagram captions, kind of insinuating that if you're looking for answers, this isn't really the place that you're gonna find it. It seems like if they're trying to keep the relationship private and what the status of it is, respect that. Shit, I completely understand. And I think a lot of the fans' concerns does seem to come out of a place of respect and care more than parasocial, which I think is largely due to their fans being a little bit older, even though Paramore definitely has very young fans, but because a lot of Paramore's fans have grown up with them over like the last 20 years, I think that kind of gives a certain level of maturity to the fandom. Not 100% of the time, but I think a little bit more than we may witness with some other stars like Chappell Roan or Sabrina Carpenter. And that concludes today's Paralore. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I love dressing up. I love getting new tattoos just for a whole fucking YouTube video. Love getting to see Hayley Williams literally days before filming this video. Like how kismet is that? Love being able to see David Byrne, who is like a huge inspiration for her, which David Byrne does sing Hard Times live at his concerts. If you didn't know, David Byrne is the lead singer of the Talking Heads, who she is a very big fan of and has now collaborated with a few times. And so seeing them on stage singing her song, really beautiful. Anyway, I hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, please make sure that you leave it a like because that helps me out so much. Also leave a comment, any lore that I may have missed out on, any of your favorite lore about Paramore. Make sure you subscribe if you want to be nasty, if not, you're disgusting. Also make sure you have your bell notifications on so you know every single time I post, or else you're gross. If you want to follow me on my other social media, Instagram, Twitter, Depop, Spotify, it's just at Nicole Rafiee, and if you want to follow me on my TikTok, it's at Nikki Nasty. You know how surprised I was to learn that there's no direct correlation between Trisha Paytas and Paramore? Like, you would have thought that there might be at least a little bit, because she like loves My Chemical Romance. I know obviously My Chemical Romance is different than Paramore, but it was just surprising, you know what I mean? So thank you.